question for us is this. Is there the possibility of a joy that joins people who would never imagine their joy work together, but usually are forced to imagine their joy work in isolation or either against one another for fear of exploitation? This, it seems to me, is a crucial question for Christianity, but for every other religion. If the joy of a religion sustains its adherents, even in the face of the brutalities of life and over against the addiction of violence in all its forms, has that joy work exhausted itself in that very work of survival? I think not. Because if joy is a reality of the creature, then joy is always an opportunity to link us in ways only limited by our imagination. Too many Christians, however, continue to promote segregated joy work through the limited ways we imagine life together, bound as it is by racial reasoning and geographic segregation. What I learned from my people a long time ago is that Jesus presents a joy that gathers. His joy gathers its strength from the cloud of witnesses of God's faithfulness. Yet even further, his joy draws life from the life of God. The joy of life with God that marked the life of his people also marks his life in extraordinary ways. It is a joy he once shared among his disciples. The words from John chapter 15, 8 through 13 point this out to us. My Father is glorified by this, that you bear fruit and become my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. I have said these things to you so that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be complete. Completed joy, suggested in this lovely passage, is a joy that connects like an expanding circuit. The possibility of a joy that gathers is already implicit in African diaspora Christianity, as it is in many other forms of religious faith. Segregated joy, however, was thrust upon the African Christian and took on its horrific dimensions through the centuries of inflicted terrorism, white supremacy, teaching these and other Christians that real joy cannot be found at the site of mixture, at the site of joining, at the site of shared life. Thankfully, there were those who pressed against segregated joy, opting for spaces of shared desire and hope that would yield the stolen pleasure of a joy that suggested a different way, a different life.